You're watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. My name is John Carissimo. This show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Every single Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, we're here live to help you understand beyond what you learn in your real estate class. So if you're just tuning in, welcome in today. Make sure you're subscribed. But essentially, the process for getting your Florida real estate license begins with a pre-licensing course. And this course has a lot of information. This is about a 500-page textbook. This is what goes along with our instructor-led courses and our instructor-led programs here at the Tampa School of Real Estate. And you would think within these 500 pages, you would have all the information you need to be successful in real estate. But the reality is, the information that's primarily taught in this course is focused on laws and rules and things to prove that you understand how to not harm the public. How to practice real estate correctly, but not necessarily build a business. So there's not really any business building topics that you learn in this first course. You learn all about the fundamentals of real estate, but this is essentially the information you need to help get you prepared for the exam. And we have a great set of exam prep tools to help you prepare for the exam. And you can see this a lot skinnier because now this narrows down to what you need to know for the exam. But between this information right here, if this is all you've done, this is, again, getting you ready for the exam, getting you understanding of the laws enough to be able to pass the exam. And you'll know enough about real estate, enough for real estate to be dangerous, enough about real estate to think, especially if you already have your own business knowledge, you already have your own sales knowledge, your own marketing knowledge, or ideas, or whatever it may be, you may think you're ready to go to the races. But there's one key part of this puzzle, and that's post-licensing. So post-licensing, this is a requirement for your renewal, your first renewal. You have to do 45 hours of post-licensing. So yet another renewal requirement. And when I got started, I took this course, this pre-licensing course, and I studied for the exam, eventually passed it on my first try. Actually, I just wasted a bunch of time in between taking the course and actually taking the exam. But anyways, long story short, I got my license, and I didn't want to do post-licensing because I knew that it was a 45-hour requirement. This course was just a class for meeting a requirement. But what I didn't know is because there's no state exam for your post-licensing, because you don't have to focus on the laws and rules so much for your state exam like you do when you're initially studying for real estate, but now you're focusing on business building. That's what most of the topics in here talk about. And why are we talking about this on a show where the topic today is how to start a part-time real estate business? Well, the key is the knowledge. And what I just walked you through right there is the knowledge that's going to be required essentially for your first 18 months in real estate. And if you want to put yourself on the fast track for success, you don't want to rely just on the legal knowledge of what you've got in your laws and rules and everything you're knowing for exam prep. Exam prep information isn't going to impress clients. It's not going to make a broker think you're competent at selling real estate. You might not even fully understand the law, but you can be prepared for your exam through mastery of this information right here. Because you don't even need to fully understand the law, you just need to know enough of it to be able to pass the exam. And that's really what we break things down to between these courses here. But this is just getting the license. And especially if you're starting part-time, you might want to put off this. I would highly advise against putting off your post-licensing. And the reason why is because, go back to my shoes. When I got started, I did this to get my license. I didn't have the pass first try. That was before it was invented, back when I got my license. So focusing based on your course material, I did a bunch of random nonsense to study. Eventually was able to pass in the first try, and that's where we break a lot of the strategies in the pass first try strategy into it there. But again, laws, rules, basics. Now, I went to school for marketing. I had ran businesses before. I was in a 180,000 person organization, a company, and in sales and being ranked in the top in the company. And so I had a lot of knowledge where I thought just basically knowing the laws and rules, I'd be able to be successful in real estate quickly. And I did start out part-time, and I was not initially successful part-time, so much so that I decided to cash in my 401k and jump in full-time. But the reality was I didn't really understand how to run a real estate business effectively. I eventually took some sort of sales boot camp that taught me a bunch of information, paid a ton of money for it, had to actually do a payment plan across multiple credit cards to be able to learn that information. But what I later found out is when I did do this course before my renewal deadline, and I did it right before the deadline because I'm a procrastinator. I'm sure some of you can relate to that. But I did this course right before my renewal deadline, and I was like, wow. This was the information that I should have had when I first got started. And if I had this information, even doing this part-time, I could have been much more successful. I had almost zero chance of being successful looking back on it, not knowing this information. And that boot camp that I committed to, that was like a multi-day workshop where you'd be in the office all day basically doing trainings, and they had us making like cold calls in the afternoon, and you know, it was brutal stuff, but it built character, as they say. But you don't necessarily need to have that type of approach, and you're going to learn how to build that approach based on the fundamentals of what's tried and true in real estate, and how to really build a business plan that suits what you're trying to do, even if you are getting started part-time in real estate. So yes, power through this and get through this as quickly as possible. That's one of the secrets here. Whether you're starting this part-time, full-time, do not waste your time in this stage. This stage will not make you money. This stage will not make you a better realtor. This stage is for proving to the Florida Real Estate Commission that you have a minimal competence of the laws and the rules, and again, how not to harm the public. So yes, this is great information to initially learn about real estate, but don't get wrapped up in it. Don't waste your time in this. And that's why the Pass First Try strategy, I would highly recommend getting that with your course when you're getting started, because that cuts out, again, a lot of the information. You see those two books side by side there, you can see how much thinner, and it's basically 20% of the size, because we really kind of, if you've heard of like the 80-20 rule, well, that's exactly how the numbers boil out here. This is about 500 pages. This is about 100 pages here. So what you need to know for the exam, we skim the cream off the top, as they say, compared to all the information you're required to learn about in this initial course by the Florida Real Estate Commission. But again, key thing, number one tip for anybody getting started, whether it's part-time or full-time, but especially if you are doing this part-time, is take this course as soon as you're licensed. And the way you could do that is with our video on demand. So you're watching a video of me right now. If you like watching these videos of me, you can do the video on demand pre-licensing course as well as post-licensing course. And we'll even bundle all of this together and give you a ridiculous discount with what we call our complete jumpstart. Because we want to incentivize you to go all in right from the get-go. Because if you could look at all this information here. And again, this first set right up here, this first top two, this is for your laws and rules. And now this is where you start building business. You're not going to be done learning at this point here, but this is what's going to help you build the framework. There's a lot of interactive exercises in here, from the business planning and time management, and understanding presenting offers, understanding pricing to sell. So again, you can get all these courses together. We have this available for video on demand, so anywhere, anytime, any place you are in the world. You could even do this offline with the app on your phone or your iPad or tablet. We're on the Google Store as well as the App Store for the apps, the Play Store for Google, whatever it's called. And again, you can get these video-based courses online with that app. Now, if you want to take one of our live instructor classes, if you're in the Tampa Bay area, we have offices here in Tampa, in the Pinellas County, in Polk County, out in Lakeland, and we're actively expanding into new markets and new locations, and we also have live online classes. So the video on demand is great because it's 24/7, but if you want a committed schedule and you need a person there to help guide you through that committed schedule, which is the best advantage I could give you compared to the on-demand option. If you want to commit to a certain schedule, be able to ask questions right there live, as opposed to basically calling or texting or chatting in with us if you're in the on-demand program. So we try to emulate that experience as much as possible in that video on demand experience, but if you do want a live set schedule with an instructor that you can engage with right there directly in the live stream, you could also do that from anywhere in the world that you have an internet connection. So you do need an internet connection to be able to live stream, but with the on-demand courses, you do not need an internet connection because, again, you could do these in offline mode for most, pretty much all this information right here. It does need connections for certain things, uploading results and so on and so forth, but that app really makes this a lot easier because even if you do have an internet connection, it prevents having to like sit around and wait for buffering. So if you do want to do this course on your cell phone, 100% possible. That's why we have the app to do that. You could really do the course in its entirety from a cell phone, tablet, or computer, and you don't have to choose. You could switch off. You just log in, and it goes right to where you left off, whatever unit it is that you're on. And again, we have live instructors in person. You can come join us. We've had people literally fly in. We have a hotel right across the street. We're in our main office here in New Tampa. So for anybody that is coming from out of town, maybe you're coming from another part of Florida, maybe you're moving from another part of the country, or maybe another country altogether. Because remember, you don't need to be a U.S. citizen to get a Florida real estate license. You don't even have to be a Florida resident either. There's different applications that you do, and if you have any questions, the phone number should be flashing at the bottom of the screen, 813-333-2676. But let's get into some more tips, because you guys are here for tips. If you're tuning in with us now live, thank you for joining in. I'll give you, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to give you a link here so you could join into the main chat with everyone in case you do have any questions about starting part-time, but at the same time, I'll put this phone number up here so you could directly connect with our advisors here, because our team of advisors, these aren't just random people here. These are people with real estate licenses themselves, and not just sales associate licenses. We have instructors you could talk to. We have people that hold broker licenses that are our advisors on our advisory team here at the Tampa School of Real Estate. So we've got an amazing team, a great group of individuals here that are eager to help you out and answer any questions you have about starting a real estate career, about doing it on a part-time basis, but ultimately, what's most important is getting started. Because we could deal in theoreticals all day long. There's a lot of theory that we could go into of what makes a successful real estate career. And we're going to cover some tips today. I already covered tip number 1 of do your post-licensing immediately. If there was one thing I could go back and change when I got started in real estate, it would be doing my post-licensing immediately. Because as I mentioned before, I didn't do it immediately. I quit my job and cashed in my 401k that I'd been saving up from my from the previous company I've been working at for, it was right about 5 years when I quit. And so I had a decent amount of money in there, but I was still young enough basically to get me by for a little bit. And what I think I really had to do was really jump off the edge and prove that and bust that myth. Because I was part-time and I wasn't that successful. I quit my job and I was full-time and I still wasn't that successful yet. And so I was like, all right, well, obviously it didn't matter about quitting my job, but at the same time, I'm not gonna give all my past coworkers the satisfaction, because here I am quitting this job after 5 years, and this was a company where these were lifelong careers that people had at this organization, and so to leave, whether it was you're working for a competitor, whether it was that you were starting a new chapter of your life, there was always that little bit, I don't want to say resentment, but almost that, and even like almost like a hope that you do fail and you come back, because then that makes them feel better about themselves for not taking the leap of faith that you're able to. And so, I definitely remember my manager, actually, specifically, the manager that said that gave me the information. I don't know if this was necessarily up to them 100%, but basically the manager that told me I was capped out. And I was like, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, that means that based on your role, based on you being in this position here, I mean, yes, you're still getting commissions, bonuses, blah, 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 but your base pay, you're capped out. We can't pay you any more, despite you not only going into your sales, but going above and beyond and blah, blah, blah. So I was basically a A-list employee again, winning awards within the company. It was a big 180,000 person organization, so they did all kinds of like little nonsense like that to keep you motivated. And but ultimately, end of the day, though, money is the ultimate motivator. And so when I saw that, okay, for where I'm at right now, I really can't go much further. And I was kind of on the fence of whether or not I did want to further my career at that organization at that point. Because I looked at some of the people that were in positions of advancement, of leadership that I could have gone into, and I'm like, is that really what I want out of my life? That doesn't, if I can't get there, the trajectory that I'm on, especially with the direction the company was heading, that same company actually now only employs about 80,000 people, so about half the people that they employed back compared to when I worked there. So they've downsized quite significantly since then. And that was the direction the company was heading in. And a lot of you may be in the same situation where you're in some sort of organization where maybe they're not declining that drastically, but maybe they're just flatlining. And so what that means for you is advancement within the organization. It's not always as, the opportunities are not always as bountiful as you would hope them to be. But anyways, long story short, couldn't go back to work there. Didn't want to go back with my tail between my legs, say, oh, I tried real estate, but I spent all my 401k, and now I guess I got to come back and work here again. I wasn't going to let that happen. And so, again, I eventually took a sales training course. It was a boot camp, like this 90-day boot camp type of thing. And it wasn't an all-day type of program, so this was something I had to like be committed to, and I think it was only like once or twice a week we met, but it was basically all day. It might have been once a week, I think, that we met. Once a week for 90 days, and it was basically an all-day type event. So I probably could have scheduled around my work schedule, but I was all in at this point. And what I eventually realized is the thing that I lacked was the proper training, the proper guidance, the proper knowledge. And I joined with a real estate broker, and a lot of times you think, okay, well, you're going to get all this from a real estate broker. But there's so much that's fundamental, that's foundational, that's in this course, that if you don't understand, nothing else will make sense. Or it's going to be a lot more difficult to make sense of it. And so this, again, is, if this is your 101 to get the license, this is your 102 that you want to do right away if you want to be able to make money with your real estate license. That's your post-licensing, of course. Again, you could bundle that with the complete Jumpstart bundle. But yeah, anyways, I do want to put this link on the screen for you here, tsre.us/live, in case you're tuned in on Facebook or YouTube right now. You could join the official chat at tsre.us/live. And if you have any questions specifically, hey, welcome in, Joyce. Good to see you. If you have any questions, drop that in the chat or just say hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from, what your aspirations are, so we could better cater the live viewers who are joining with us today. And this, of course, will be available at a recording until we go live next time. You can actually access it at the same link right here to get right to this page to rewatch this. And if you do know somebody, because that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today. So let's get into these tips, because we've already wasted a lot of time setting the frame, setting the foundation of why this information is so essential here. Because again, this is not something where, okay, you get your license and all of a sudden, even if you have all this background and information that I had, there's still so much that you don't know until you take that post-licensing course. And that's why this is a requirement. But the thing that's great about post-licensing is we have such a greater control of what information is in there, because there isn't a state exam. So number one is take post-licensing immediately. Now, here's the thing. If you're doing this part-time, if that's what you're committing to, don't activate right away. And so the reason why I would advise you not to activate immediately is because in post-licensing, you're going to develop a business plan. So number one, you want to take your post-licensing course immediately, as soon as possible. And this, again, is a much easier course because there's no state exam. It's much more focused on actually using your real estate license. So you want to get in that right away. And Look, if you've already found a broker that you want to start with and basically you want to activate and get right to business right away, maybe you do have a hot lead that's basically ready to go. And in that case, maybe yes, you do activate your license immediately at that point. Now, you could start researching brokers, but you're not necessarily under the obligation to join a broker at any point. You could keep your license inactive. And here's the reason why you might want to keep your license inactive, is because in an inactive status, you're not affiliated officially with a brokerage. And so what that means is you don't have to worry about any sort of membership dues or anything other than your renewal requirements. So whether you're active or inactive, it doesn't matter about your renewal requirements. And that's, again, another reason why you want to do your post-licensing immediately, is to get it out of the way. But that's honestly the least important reason. Because even if you do it at the last minute, at the end of the day, as long as it gets done and you get your hours by the deadline, you meet that requirement. So that's not the most important thing. Yes, you do want to probably do that before you start getting busy if you are really serious about real estate. But here's the other reason. And the most important reason, again, is the knowledge and the information that's in there that's going to help you understand how to build this business plan. And what you're going to understand is how to find sources of business. Because without sources of business, without leads, as we call them, you have no business. You have to have people to be able to do real estate transactions with. Now, that could be yourself. That absolutely could be yourself. But did you know it's upwards of 80%? I think the actual official statistics, like 85% of new agents get their first deal through their sphere of influence. That's going to be tip number 5 here. And so what do I mean by sphere of influence? Number 1, how does it factor into your plan? How does the sphere of influence factor into your business plan? What ultimately is your goal? Let's split off a little bit here on the business plan. So let's talk about why the business plan is going to be so important and so essential. Number 1, and this is really the only reason why you'd waste any time making a business plan. How to make money. And number 2, we're going to come back to how to make money because I want to just run through a few of the many different options you have available to you on how to make money, and specifically focus on the ones that are going to be more advantageous as a new real estate agent. So how to make money. And we'll call it this. We'll call it a under estimation of expenses. Now, why am I calling it an underestimation of expenses? Well, because your estimation of expenses is likely to end up being an underestimation of expenses. Not by design, but by chance. Because there's very likely something that you're going to forget. There's going to be other expenses that come up. Whatever it might be, you almost always underestimate. And so that's why you want to definitely have a significant cushion between the expenses and how you're making money. Now, one of the most significant expenses to get started is joining the realtors. If you want to actually go full-time into real estate. This is usually in the range of like $800 to $1,000 for your first year, depending what time of year you join. Sometimes it's prorated. Also depends on what board you're joining locally in Florida. But somewhere in the range of, we'll call it $1,000. Now, if you're starting part-time, and this is one of the top mistakes I see new agents make. That's right over here. Top mistakes that new agents make that are starting part-time is activating immediately. I would say number 1 mistake is not taking post-licensing immediately. Because if you are taking post-licensing immediately, before you even think about joining a broker, that means you are more focused on this right here of building a business plan. This is going to be really my top 3 tips for anybody getting into real estate, whether it's full-time or part-time here. These 3 tips. But they're even more important, again, when you are doing this part-time because, again, you have much more limited time to work with. That's what I realized when I quit my job, cashed in my 401k so I had enough money to get by and invest a little bit more into trying to figure out how to get my business to work. And I was wasting money on all kinds of things that really weren't important because I wasn't focused on this, my sphere of influence. And I didn't know that statistic, that it's like 85% of people, of new real estate agents, get their first deal, their first business from somebody they already know, or a friend of a friend, somebody from that sphere of influence. And so again, in that business plan, how does your sphere of influence factor into this? Well, again, going back to your business plan, how are you going to make money? Because one of the best ways that I would recommend to start out as a new agent is through referrals. There's no boards to join. That's going to be your lowest cost option. Not only is there no boards to join, and it's going to be the lowest cost, but it's also going to be the easiest way to make money. And the reason why is it does not rely upon you being a real estate expert. And so as you go through, like even just this information here, so, as you go through, let's say you're going through your pre-licensing, you learn all about the laws and rules, the basics of getting started in real estate, you brush up on what's important with your exam prep, and then you go in and take the post-licensing. Again, these 3 books, that's a lot of information. This has got to be at least 1,000 pages right here of real estate knowledge that you'll have gained, especially once you've gone through this and you understand the business aspect and making money aspect of this so much more. But even after you do that, and the post-licensing, again, and you can see how that book is already like thinner than the pre-licensing book, it's just the beginning of your real estate training and education of how to become the most expert, the most efficient business, whatever your goals are of where you're trying to take your real estate business. There's going to be some additional knowledge and training typically involved. But the least knowledge, the least training, the easiest way to get started in real estate is through the use of referrals. And so to give you an example, I'm actually a broker with multiple licenses. I have a referral brokerage as well as other brokerages, and I believe it's like $150 for the year. There's an 80-20 split, so whatever referral fee comes in, you end up with 80% of that, and it's like $150 a year. And there's tons of different referral brokerages out there, somewhere along those lines that may have a higher annual, lower annual, higher split, lower split, whatever the case may be. But the reason why this is the easiest way to get started in real estate is because you're not having to be a real estate expert. You're not having to actually put all of this information into use, especially this information of doing the deal. And even the working with people part of that, of doing all the deal, there's a lot higher threshold of information you need to take a client start to finish from, I want to buy a house, to boom, I've got one sold. Or somebody thinking about selling and it's now on the market and now it's sold. Going through that whole process means that you're putting all this information to work. And that's not as easy as having somebody else who already knows how to do all that do it. And this is, again, probably one of the top mistakes. Should make a whole list of the top mistakes here, but is avoiding referrals or ignoring referrals or not being aware of the opportunity that exists through referrals. Because even if you are active in practicing real estate, you could still refer business out whenever it's out of your market, whenever it's too complicated of a transaction, whenever it's somebody that speaks another language that you can't speak, whenever anybody that you know, anybody from your sphere of influence or otherwise, anybody that you meet You could set up a referral deal to refer that client to a real estate agent who's actually going to do the deal. And then when they do that deal, you get a cut. Let's say 25%. That's a pretty typical amount. It's negotiable always, but let's say it's 25%. So if it's a $10,000 commission, you're getting $2,500. Now, again, your referral brokerage, there's probably some sort of split there, but we'll call it $2,000 that you're walking away with for just connecting. And that's only a $10,000 commission. Let's say this is a big commercial deal or somebody just buying a much more expensive property. And let's say the commission was $100,000. Now you're ending up with a $20,000 referral fee. Yes, the agent that did the deal, that brokerage, they're getting like $75,000, but that's their compensation for doing the work. All you've got to do is refer the lead, and again, it's a one-page document, super simple, super easy to do, and especially, again, if you're doing this part-time or full-time, this is the easiest way to make money in real estate because you're just taking your sphere and connecting them with somebody, and you do have to have an active license, so that's why I would say join a referral-specific brokerage. That's why I hold multiple brokerage licenses. There's a few other brokerages, but one brokerage is a main full-service brokerage. A separate brokerage is not a member of the Association of Realtors, and so therefore any licensees that activate at that brokerage do not have to join the Association of Realtors. And why even join the Association of Realtors? Why do you even need these boards if you actually do want to sell real estate? Well, it's not necessarily the boards and the realtors that you need. It's the MLS, the Multiple Listing Service. Because that is not only your database of property, but also a suite of tools that allow you to cooperate or work with other brokers who have listings. Or if you have a listing, other brokers that have buyers for your listing. But the benefit of referrals is the agent that's doing the deal, they have all that. They're paying for all those expenses to run their business. You don't have to have those expenses because you don't need the boards. You don't need the MLS. This is, again, your lowest cost option, and you just negotiate the referral fee. I've signed off on referral agreements before of 50%. 50% referral fee, meaning half of the commission for the referral of this deal. It was a pretty much of a done deal, ready to go, easy peasy. But that's why it was worth 50%. So you could negotiate 50%. You could negotiate more even. You could beat my record. You could negotiate down to 10, 5% for a referral fee, depending on whatever the situation is. But 25%, that's usually not something, because that's only a quarter of the commission. So you ask for 33% even, and somebody that's hurting for business, they might sign off on who knows what they'll sign off on, again, especially if the deal's almost done. And so that's why the referrals can be so powerful. You negotiate that referral fee, but that's really the only thing you're negotiating is the referral fee agreement. What is going to be paid for what? You go sell them a house and I get paid, or you sell them and buy them and help them buy and sell, help them do both, and I get paid on both. You could specify that in the referral agreement. So now instead of that $2,000 commission, you're doubling it into $4,000 or whatever the dollar amounts come out to be. And that's a phenomenal way, full-time or part-time, to get some, I don't want to call it mailbox money, because you do have to do the work of generating that lead and getting that lead in contact with that other agent that you've got that referral agreement with. So that's the work that you do, but it's just people work. So if you're good with people, if you're a communicator, if you're a networker, this is so powerful. I can't tell you the celebrities that we've had. Legit celebrities, people that have been on TV in Major League Baseball, in the National Football League, and all these people that they're not looking to sell real estate themselves. Some of them do want to become realtors, but they really just want the license, not just for the knowledge, not just for this information, but also for the referrals, because now all of their high net worth clients, or network, I should say, that they have. I call them clients because when they've got a real estate license, those are all, even if it's just referrals, they're all potential clients. You connect them with a real estate agent. Let's call it a 25% referral fee. Now, whatever that commission ends up being, 25% goes to your referral brokerage. So this is, again, the easiest way to make money in real estate. So that'd be my number one tip. And that's why I want to go back to, keep forgetting it's on the same slide here, just off to the side. There we are. Back to your part-time tips here. So number one, take your post-licensing immediately. You want to have that course done and out of the way, not just so that you knock it out for your renewal requirement, but so you get that groundwork, foundational knowledge that you need to understand how to make money in real estate, to be able to build your business plan. And once you understand how you're going to make money in real estate, that's when it becomes wise to activate your license. When you're ready to act on your plan, when you've established enough of, and look, I'm not a big planner. I'm a spontaneous person. I'd like to shoot first and aim later type of deal. But you can see how that could be dangerous, especially when there's money on the line, especially when you're thinking about quitting your job, especially when you don't want to give up on this opportunity because you get burnt out from just doing it wrong. We'll make that tip number 6 here. Don't do it wrong. Don't waste time doing it wrong. Because that's what I was doing for a long time. And it wasn't the one thing I had to fix that I could have fixed if I could go back is, again, the post-licensing course. Because that's going to be your start. And that's going to help you realize how much it is that you don't know. And then when you do your trainings with the broker it is that you eventually join. Now, if you've already got a really strong sales background and marketing background, maybe you've ran businesses before, you might be ready to go with your own information and what you learn in that post-licensing course. But if, maybe you're new to sales, maybe you're new to marketing, that's okay. There's brokerages that offer training on those subjects, and we can help you get in contact with those brokers. Finding a brokerage to hang your license with is not the problem in starting a real estate career. There's multiple brokers out there that are actively recruiting new agents that have different plans, that have different options, that have different opportunities depending on what you want to get out of real estate. And that's why I advise you not to activate immediately, because if you activate immediately before you've even developed your own business plan, you figure out how you want to make money, you balance out, okay, it's going to cost me this much money. Because if you're doing referrals, you're paying your referral brokerage whatever it costs, let's again call it $150 a year. That's it. That's your investment. You have that cost for activating your license with that brokerage, and then the annual fee to just keep that license active there. And it's maybe another $50 every 2 years to renew your license with the state. That's why, again, this is such a low cost option here to get started. And again, also the easiest because you're not really doing any of the work other than just connecting the leads to the agents. And this could even be in other states. This could be in other countries. So this is where this is really powerful, because we get a lot of times students that come to us that are transplants, because a lot of people are moving to Florida. There's, I think, about 1,000 people every day right now. It might actually be more than that. It's been a while since I've checked that statistic, but at least 1,000 people a day that are moving to the state of Florida. And I see it everywhere. I have investment properties with short-term rentals where it's people moving in from the state. Those are the top clients that I'm seeing on that side. We see it all the time with the brokerage. The people that are buying right now are people that are moving here from other parts of the country. 1,000 people a day, that's a lot of people moving here. You might know some of those people, but even if they don't want to move to Florida, they want to just stay in whatever hometown they are in New York, in California, in Alaska, in Canada, in Italy, wherever it may be. You sign off on that referral agreement and connect them with a local agent in the market, and now you're getting a percentage of the commission. You're getting a cut. Your clients aren't having to pay extra. This is a percentage of the commission that the agent would have earned otherwise, but they're not getting the full commission because they agreed to compensate you whatever the percentage is, 25, 30, 33% of the deal, because this is your contact. And that personal referral is very valuable, and that's why there's agents that are willing to do this. Tip number 7, to cooperate with other agents. And specifically, if you are actually practicing real estate or trying to practice real estate, trying to go beyond just doing referrals, because you should never lose out on any deal because you don't know how to do it, because it's too complicated, because it's not in your territory. You could at least get a little piece, a little fraction of the action, as they like to say. And that's what referral fees are. So referrals in their nature involve cooperating. So two sets of people you're trying to put together. You're trying to put together your sphere of influence, the people that you already know. Remember, again, this is where 85% of new agents find their first business. It's through people they already know. And how do you make money in real estate? Again, starting off just with that idea of monetizing the people that you know. If you want to take it all the way, make sure, again, with your business plan, that you join a brokerage that's going to be very supportive. Because if you're just joined with a referral brokerage, chances are you won't be able to do the deal. You're not a member of the Association of Realtors. You don't have access to the MLS. And a lot of times the referral brokerages prohibit you from actually practicing real estate fully without referring the deal out, just because there's not the system of checks and balances. You don't have the training that's necessary. So again, multiple brokerages. One of my brokerages actually has a training program designed for new agents and teaches everything essentially to where you go in and learn what you need to know. But if you don't know anything about sales or anything about marketing or anything about running a business or anything about real estate, even beyond what you learned in your pre-licensing and post-licensing course, there's that information and training out there. So there's brokerages like that. And then there's also brokerages that don't have training or have very international standardized training that doesn't apply to your local market or whatever the case may be. It depends on what your needs are. And that's why it's so essential that you get your business plan figured out, get in your post-licensing. And that's what's great about the video on demand course is you could go through it again and again. Yes, even with live stream and classroom, you'll have your textbook and the resources essentially that you could go back and print out and make your own spreadsheets and all that other stuff. But if you want to relive that lesson on business planning, our courses include 1-year access. So get it done as soon as you're licensed, but you still have access to go back in there to revisit it to make sure you're really understanding these other parts, maybe about presenting offers or any of that information that you want to reference back into. Again, you have 1-year access to that. So that's also really great with that video on demand course. Now, your sphere of influence doesn't just include your close family and friends. Your sphere of influence ultimately is going to be everybody. So here's you. Here's you, your little planet. And probably the closest in your planet is your family, maybe your BFFs, that type of deal. See if we can zoom, change, make this a little thinner so you guys can read that. Family, your BFFs. Then let's say maybe you got your co-workers, because who else are you spending more time with? And then let's say you maybe have people in different organizations, social clubs, and that sounds weird because it's not, I don't mean social clubs specifically, but clubs, organizations, volunteer, any sort of religious type of thing, any of those types of things where you're engaging with people. And then beyond that, it's just people in your day-to-day. It's just people in your day-to-day that you're meeting. And beyond that, you have marketing to expand your reach even further. Now, the mistake that I made when I got started in real estate, write this down if you're taking notes here, do not start with marketing. Why are you not starting with marketing? Well, look how far out you are from business. Let's put us in red. So here we are, brand new, getting started in real estate. This is us here on planet Earth. And we're trying to blast off all the way to Pluto. We haven't even been to Mars yet. Arguably the moon, depending on whether or not you believe TikToks and Instagram Reels and all that other nonsense. Maybe we haven't even been to the moon yet. How are we going to get to Pluto if we haven't even... And look, here's the thing. If you haven't even done business with anyone in your family or your BFFs, you haven't even been to the moon yet. Maybe you've done deals with your family, you've been to the moon, but have you been to Mars? Why would you try to jump all the way out to Pluto if you're not ready to blast off yet? And so that's what... If I could go back and revisit the way I started my real estate career, or would again, and you learn about the sphere of influence. This is right out of your post-licensing course of this whole concept of this hierarchy of the people it is that you know, because all of these people are actually in your sphere, because when you start marketing to them, they start to, you're pulling them into orbit. That's what you're doing here. Think of this like space. You're pulling them into orbit. Whether you believe in space or not, think about the concept. You're pulling them into orbit. You don't need to believe in space to be able to sell real estate here on Earth. It doesn't matter. We don't judge anybody for their views, whether they believe whatever shape the Earth is or anything like that. That's not going to be on your exam. Shout out to all the conspiracy theorists. It's a fun Friday today here. But again, I made the mistake of I started with marketing. I started with marketing instead of reaching out to my family, friends. Hey, I'm in real estate. I'm in real estate now. And what can you do? We'll give away this nugget today. We'll touch on this here. You cannot compensate people for real estate sales. You need a real estate license to be able to compensate people for real estate sales, but you can compensate people for leads. See, when I got started, I had companies calling me saying, "Hey, you need leads. Let me sell you leads for $50 a pop, $100 a pop, $150 a pop." It depends on where you're marketing to. Those leads get more expensive in the price of your neighborhoods because, again, they know there's bigger commissions. You could run a referral program for your own friends and family, but the key thing is you have to base this on leads. Consult with your broker to make sure they're okay with whatever it is that you're doing. And that's part of the reason why you do join a broker when you are actually practicing real estate, because you will need, and it doesn't have to be from the broker, but there needs to be a support system there. Coaches, mentors, trainers, contacts, some sort of coaching hotline, something like that you have to be able to reach out to with whatever questions. And so we're not trying to, again, blast off all the way to Pluto. We're going to work our way out. Because here we are on planet Earth. We're going to reach out to our family and friends. We're going to start with them. And we're going to say, hey, did you know I'm in real estate? I don't know if you need to buy or sell right now. I'd love the opportunity to earn your business. But just in case you're not, and I'd probably be more confident than this, trying to downplay it a little bit, just, again, you're brand new, you don't have the most confidence yet. You want to have that confidence. So, hey, it's good talk, catching up to you, blah, blah, blah. You're having your chit chat. Say, by the way, I'm in real estate now. I've got my real estate license. And look, I'm not trying to come on to you. I'm not trying to get a deal from you. Ha, 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 laugh it off, because humor lightens the mood, especially when we talk about something serious like business. It's like, hey, look, I'm not trying to sell your house, of course, or anything like that. But I've actually got a pretty enticing lead program here. You get me to sit down with anybody. I don't have to sell them anything. They don't have to buy anything. That'd actually be illegal. If I gave you money for them buying or selling, you'd have to get a license. Could actually hook you up with somebody I know to help you get licensed just in case. We actually have a referral program here at Tampa School Real Estate as well. Reach out to us if you want to find out about that. But most people don't want to go through this process of getting a real estate license just because they want to remain ignorant of the opportunities. They don't want to put in the work. They don't want to spend the time to be able to earn this additional income. But anyways, back to our role play here. So so I'm in real estate right now. Look, I'm not trying to sell your house. If you want to sell, I'd love the opportunity to earn your business. But look, I've got a pretty enticing referral program. I'll give you a $100 Ruth Chris Steakhouse gift card if you get me somebody that I could sit down with and talk about real estate. Don't have to do any business with them at all. And that's the key to doing this legal. Consult with your broker. I'm not giving any sort of legal advice here. Where's whatever that disclaimer we've got to flash on this here. Consult your broker, consult your attorney, consult your accountant, consult your mom, consult your dad, consult whoever. Don't take our word as the final word for all of that there, of course. Really, anything that you're doing that gets even close to a gray area, you should always check with your brokerage and make sure whatever you're doing is going to be okay, that's going to be legal for both of you to be able to do that. But that way that you're able to really incentivize them. And look, if you don't have money to spend to be able to go buy somebody a $100 gift card, reach out to your close friends and your family, because they want to see you win. They want to see you succeed. That's who's in this inner circle. That's what the moon is, getting to the moon. That's easy because these people already care about you. The moon already helps us out with the tides and all that other good stuff. But maybe you're getting into coworkers, and like I said, my coworkers were a little salty that I was quitting. My past coworkers, that I was out here on my own. But I bet if I went back and said, "Hey, yeah, I'm loving real estate. You ever want to get started? Let me know. I'll hook you up with a great school." But look, let me tell you this: you get me anybody. You know anybody there? You talk to your good friends, your buddies, your pals, whoever they were, or maybe not even them. Maybe the busybodies; those are the best ones at that company. Hey, I'm in real estate right now, and look, if you get me an appointment with anybody, sit down with them, give you a $50 gift card. I'll get a $25 gift card, maybe. $25 gift card if you get me somebody to sit down with. Talk about real estate. Don't even have to do any business with them. I'll just give that to you for meeting with them. Now, getting out into social clubs, organizations, things like that, again, as you're trying to pull people in, this could be a pitch. If this is a program that you're committed to being able to do, that your broker's okay with, and so on and so forth, you could roll with this and take this all the way out even to your marketing. Hey, you know somebody? Let us know. Because, I mean, if you're really doing this now to the marketing level of where you're now able to invest tons of money in your marketing and you have the same ploy that you basically have used to get here, because if your ship won't get you to the moon, your ship definitely isn't going to get you to Pluto. Again, that's the whole point I'm trying to make here with marketing is the last thing that you want to worry about. Because until you can level up all these levels, your marketing will be much more effective. It might not be effective at all if you jump to it right at the beginning. I'll let you in on a secret. It wasn't for me. The marketing, me spending money to buy the leads, it didn't make any difference. Yes, I had leads. I had leads to actually do a business with, and that was the difference. But in terms of me actually making any money, it didn't make any difference because I didn't know what to do with those leads. I didn't have the confidence to work with these people I didn't even know because I didn't even have the confidence to work with the people I did know. Because I skipped that post-licensing. I waited to the last minute to get my post-licensing done. Whereas if I did it right away, I would, again, had so much more knowledge and training, and then everything else would have made much more sense. I bet you there would have been more information I would have learned from that 90-day boot camp had I already had the foundational information from that post-licensing. And I probably could have learned much higher level ideas and topics with my investment instead of just really starting to understand the basics really at that point there. It was all so new to me, so much was going over my head. And that slowed me down. And so I'm here before you today to help you accelerate your career, because especially if you're doing this on a part-time basis, you don't have a full-time employee to work for you. Now, maybe you could hire a full-time employee. We could talk about that because you could have employees in your real estate business. The compensation details, you'll learn more about that in your pre-licensing of how you can do that legally and effectively. But ultimately, you can have employees, people with licenses or without licenses, as a sales associate, your initial starting license. So you could really build this into a big business. And that's the point of cooperating with others. Because especially if you're starting part-time, that's where you want to consider referrals. Even if you're active in real estate, even if you join the board, you're part of a full-service brokerages, you're doing the training, but maybe you're just not ready to do a deal yet, but you got a hot lead, refer that to somebody who could get the job done. Refer it to somebody who could get the job done. Give up the 75% of the commission or 70% of the commission or whatever it is you negotiate. But let the other agent who knows what they're doing get the deal done. Get the business. And so that way everybody makes a little bit of money instead of making no money because you don't know what you're doing. Or you don't have time. That's the big argument of people of, oh, that's why you can't do real estate part-time. This is what I was sold on. It's like, well, you don't have, you need to be ready for anything. What if you get a lead that wants to meet you right now? You're just going to throw that lead away? And I was like, well, good question. I guess I can't just throw that lead away. Let me quit my job. Dummy. Referrals. And I'm talking to me back in my past days. Dummy. And ultimately, I don't regret quitting that job. I was ready to quit. I was overdue for quitting that job. So I don't regret that. But I do regret not being more successful quicker. And maybe it had to happen that way. Because maybe if I could do this effectively part-time when I started, I maybe never would have quit that job. Who knows? Probably still would have, because the checks add up quickly, even if it's just a referral. There's a lot of work I would have to do to be able to get an extra $2,000. I was in a commission type of role, so it was possible, but there was a lot of work to be able to get that much money. Especially, again, I say that compared to, because at the time I didn't think it was a lot of work. But compared to how easy I found just connecting business to be able to be, if I knew that then, would have been dangerous. But the key thing is to cooperate with other agents. And that's how you leverage others' experience. Find somebody to team up with. It's going to cost, because no one wants to work for free, especially someone that's successful, especially somebody that's doing a lot of business. Maybe you do refer that deal out to them where they're getting 75% of the commission, but you're like, hey, do you mind if I kind of oversee this and whatnot here so I could kind of learn on a more realistic level? Because you could do trainings, you could do simulations, you could fill out practice example documents and whatnot. But the real transactions teach you so much that you can't 100% emulate it in a classroom or training type of environment. You get close, but the emotion is like the realness that even with all the advanced AI that they've got today, they still haven't figured out emotion quite correct. I don't think so. I could still pick up on it. I don't know. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. So yeah, let's take a look at the chat here. Yeah, Joyce Nelson, start doing referrals. The work as licensee rest of the time. And that's the thing, you don't have to choose. You could choose, and if you choose to refer and be basically exclusively referrals, that's going to save you a lot of money. But if you, again, decided to go the full service route, you could still refer business, and you still should refer business out because there's a learning curve. Even with your pre-licensing, even with your post-licensing. You know, if you were a new agent coming to one of my brokerages, the one that's designed for new agent success, Epic Realty Group are actually in magazines and blah, blah, blah. We won some awards and all kinds of other good stuff I could bore you with later. But this organization, if you're brand new to real estate, we have all kinds of training to where we expect you to still do your post-licensing. We expect you to still have that post-licensing done as soon as possible, because putting that off is putting off foundational information where our trainings, things get much more advanced much quickly. So without that component of the post-licensing, without that puzzle piece, it's hard to make a lot of stuff make sense. But once you've got that post-licensing done, once you start developing out your business plan, and the best thing is now you're going to be set for at least 4 years before you have your continuing education due. So you'll be set in terms of your renewal requirements and making sure you don't lose your license, because there's a crazy stat that 80% of real estate licensees lose their license in 2 years. And it's primarily because they don't do their post-licensing requirement. And, you know, if you started this part-time and you never did your post-licensing, so you never really figured out real estate, so you never really figured out how to be successful, you never really did anything in real estate, why would you renew your license? Everybody at your job that's all going to be shaking their heads, see, I told you that's why you shouldn't have wasted your time with that real estate. It's just a scam. So if you want to make this successful, you've got to put in the work. The great thing about being your own boss is you get to be your own boss, but you got to be the boss. And you got to make sure your employee, which is also you. So that's the thing you got to remember. Yes, you got to be your own boss, but you're still your employee until you could also delegate and outsource that work through a team, which you absolutely can. That's a big part of the plan, of the tips here, of cooperating with others. And it doesn't even have to be an official team. It could just be an agent that has done real estate before, that has done transactions, that you could refer business to until you feel confident enough and ready to actually do the deals yourself. Yeah, and Joyce, that's fantastic. If you're a people person, focus on that. Get the license, get that knocked out, get that out of the way, get yourself in the position where you could be able to monetize those connections. And then it's, again, consult with your broker before you do this. But hey, do you mind, is this okay if I run this little referral program here? I'm not paying people for sales. I know that's illegal, but I want to be able to compensate people for referring me a lead. That's legal. There should be more people doing that, because that's how you really tap into your sphere of influence. And it could be something little, it could be something bigger. Yeah, you got to watch that's part of the business planning, is figuring out your conversion ratios. How many leads equal how many contracts? And what is the percentages of fall off at each stage? That's what you're learning about in your post-licensing course. So get that done as soon as possible. We'd love to help you out with any other information we can, whatever stage of your real estate career that you're in, whether you're just getting started or you already have your license, or maybe you're thinking about getting your broker license. Maybe you're looking to expand a team. If you know people that want to get a license, we, again, have a referral program. I'll put that link on the screen here for you real quick. We'll actually put that back over here. So call or text us, 813-333-2676. Any questions you have, any way we could help you out. tsre.us/live. That's going to be if you want to watch the replay. And that link will work until we're live again next week. But if you want to join our affiliate program here at the Tampa School of Real Estate, go to this link right here, tsre.us/refer. We have a referral program where you could share a link, your own personalized discount code, and if someone uses your discount code or signs up with your link within 30 days of visiting that link from that device, you get a commission. And you can actually take this commission as a PayPal payout if you want to be able to transfer it to your bank as cold hard cash or cold hard whatever, cold hard digital money, whatever it is we have these days. Or will double the commission if you want to use it as store credit. So if you've got renewal courses to complete, maybe you want to get your broker license, maybe you want to be able to buy courses for others. Those referral commissions, again, you could double as store credit for whatever it is that you want to purchase from Tampa School of Real Estate. So tsre.us/refer to get joined into that program. If you've done one of our giveaways before, you probably actually already have an account. And if you're like, oh, wait, you guys do giveaways? Yes, we do. Make sure you're subscribed to us. You can always find us 12 noon every Friday, tsre.us/live. Any questions we can help you out with, 813-333-2676. Speak with our advisors here again, licensed sales associates, instructors, brokers, even people that have broker licenses you could talk to at 813-333-2676. That's about all the time we've got for today. I want to thank you for joining in with us for this week's episode of State of Real Estate. Any way we can help you out, again, phone number is 813-333-2676. Have a fantastic weekend this weekend, and I'll see you next Friday for State of Real Estate.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida Real Estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.
Are you studying for your Florida real estate exam? If you are, you need to check out our Pass First Try strategy. You're going to love this. It's 4 steps that we break down the process to study for your Florida real estate exam. So you're set up to pass your Florida real estate exam because that's what you're studying for, right? To pass your exam. It's 4 steps. Number 1, you learn the information. You've got to learn this to be able to pass the exam, but it doesn't stop at learning. Step 2, you've got to reinforce the basic, simple, key concepts. As you learn this information, keep reviewing the simple things. You don't need to know everything, but you got to review these basic key concepts. Step 3, you've got to test your knowledge. The exam's going to test your knowledge, so if you don't test your knowledge in advance, you won't find out if you know what you think you know until you take the exam. And then step 4 is be confident and prepared, because even if you know this material, you need to be confident that you know the material. Check out the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. So you just got your real estate license. How can you jumpstart your real estate business? The number one thing you should do before you do anything else is post-licensing. Now look, this is already a requirement, so you're gonna have to do it anyways, but here's why you wanna do it early. The sooner you do post-licensing, the sooner you're gonna learn the real world concepts in post-licensing that will help you create a business plan, that'll help you plan for your success in real estate. Post-licensing is all about real world topics that are usable, that'll help you grow your real estate business. And at Tampa School of Real Estate, we have the best post-licensing courses around. Find out more about how post-licensing can help you jumpstart your real estate career. Go to postflorida.com.
Have you seen what's going on in Tampa?
If you're looking to get in on the real estate action that's going on in Tampa right now, we're who you need to talk to. We can help you get your real estate license, start your real estate career. We're here to assist you for the life of your real estate career. Give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106, or check us out online at tampaschool.com. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Thinking about getting your Florida real estate license? Look, the process is probably easier than you think. We break it down step by step, how much it's going to cost, what it is that you need to do to get your Florida real estate license. Find out all of that and more at licensefl.com. Again, that's licensefl.com.